Hi, I'm Toby, and today I'm going to modify my Sire P5 bass. Let's get started. So here we are at the workbench. I'm going to install these tuners into this bass. These are 3 Sadowsky Light Tuners, which look a lot like the Hipshot Ultralite ones, but are much heavier. These weigh around 80 grams, whereas the original Hipshot ones I think are around 50 grams. I also have this Hipshot Bass Xtender in the ultralight version. This weighs around 100 grams. I bought this one used, and unfortunately I didn't realize that this nut was missing. So I contacted Public Peace, and Adrian at Public Peace was able to get me a spare part. Many thanks for that. So now I can finally use this one. So in order to get them installed, we of course have to remove the stock ones. They are installed with 4 screws in the back each, and these bushings at the front are just pressed into the wood, whereas these are mounted with 1 screw from the back and these nuts which go through the front. So we have to remove these bushings. I'm hoping they're not too tightly pressed into the wood, so we can get them out without too much force, but we'll see. So in order to be able to handle the neck well, I'm going to remove the neck from the body. Of course, strings must go too, and then we'll see. Let's start. So first of all, the strings. Now I'm going to unscrew the neck. As with all screws on guitars and basses, and in general, it's good to use a properly fitting screwdriver in order to avoid damaging the screw head. Next up are the screws holding the tuners to the back of the headstock. In order to remove the bushings, I laid some pieces of wood underneath the headstock. And now I'll try to get them out with this gentle bit of force. And here we go. First one's out. Nothing damaged. So I needed a little force, but that's okay. So let's go on. Go number 2, 3, and 4. Oh, this was actually quite easy. Let's have a look at the weight. The stock tuners weigh around 94 grams each. The Sadowsky ones are at 80.3, and the Bass Xtender comes in at 101 grams, so we have around 34 grams weight reduction. I'm now marking the center line of the big holes in the headstock because the screws of the new tuners will sit on that same center line. Now I'm using the nuts to mount the tuners. I do not tighten them too much, so I'm still able to move the tuners and align them properly before drilling the hole in the back of the headstock in the next step. I'm aligning the tuners by putting the holes in the back on the center line I drew, and then I make sure that there's an equal distance between all the tuners. Finally, I'm drilling the holes in the back of the headstock for the new screws. It's very important to make sure you don't drill too deeply. So I put some piece of tape on the drill bit to make sure I don't go too deep. Now I can put in the screws, tighten the nuts, and then I'm ready to reinstall the neck into the body and put some new strings on it, and then I'm done. So now I'll tighten that just a little bit more. And then we are ready to. So now that we're done, how does this bass extender work? It's pretty simple. You have this lever. If it's up, you're in standard tuning. You tune the string with this tuner pack, and if you switch down, you go to a lower note, and this note you can tune with this screw here. So the screw is not as comfortable as the pack. It's a little bit tricky to get the right tuning, but once you've got that, you're good to go. Sometimes after switching, at least in my case, the tuning is not 100% right. Then I have to flex the string a little bit, and then it settles and it's fine. So it works quite well. So here are my final thoughts on this modification. The bass extender works, and it's kind of cool to be able to switch between two tunings in just under a second. The Sadowsky tuners work fine. They are good tuners, but they are not as light as they could be. So if you're looking for some real weight reduction, you will have to look at other tuners, I think. One downside of these type of tuners is that you can see all the holes of the stock ones in the back, so that's not pretty, but it's the back of the headstock. So yeah, if you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thank you for watching, and see you the next time.